joking.
We're rolling here.
Whoa, let's go.
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hi, everybody. We'll start with the roll call.
Albert,
I'm here.
Hooper, Ferguson. Here. Blackman. Here. Muller.
Please, not here.
Janelli.
Here.
Katrina.
Here.
Petrofessa. Taversack. Franzilla. Here.
Wow. You're hot. Let's start with recognitions, and on my agenda it tells me that March is the Board of Education Appreciation Month. And look at this. I just brought me my tea. I love that she appreciates it. Thank you, Kevin. All right. Okay.
Wait a minute.
Board of Education Appreciation? It is Board of Education Appreciation.
How about a drum roll?
How's that?
Okay,
I got something for you.
I'm sure you do. Oh, you just took that from Dan.
What do you mean? Doesn't matter where I got it from.
Do you realize what he's doing to yours?
Heavy duty, bro. That's heavy duty.
Can you help me? Give me honest?
Beautiful.
Thank you very much. I know.
This is from Mr. Donovan. Everybody, I just want you to know from Henry High School, this has nothing to do with Sal's gift for us.
It is Sal. No, it was Sal.
I ordered it.
You did bologna and liver.
I ordered it.
You
I'm
did
ordering
not.
it.
You did order
Thank
it.
you.
He did.
I took him forever to
He
do.
did order it for us.
Absolutely.
Sal's gift is the table for Sal's, I
On the
do.
tables, would you stop at the tables?
And it's going to be icy on Saturday. Just in time. Thank you.
Just right now.
Everybody get one?
Oh my God, we have the sickest human beings. Okay, and there are strange people in the audience. I'm just kidding. And
That's courtesy of the high school, really. I
Yeah,
called
thank you.
Gary.
Well, I just
Said, can we get something here? I've got something.
I couldn't defend
we
you.
have some swag. Yes, I saw him. That's why I know that. Yeah.
I've never even seen it.
Nice touch.
10 points off.
That's it.
In your hand. Okay.
Good break.
Okay, can we like try to speak?
On the back of this phone.
What's this?
No.
Can we just try to pay attention? Hello? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving along. We have the consent calendar. Oh, no, we don't. We have public participation. I'm so very sorry. The board welcomes public participation and asks that speakers please limit their comments to 3 minutes. Speakers may offer objective comments of school operations and programs that concern them. The board will not permit any expression of personal complaints or defamatory comments about the Board of Education personnel and/or students, nor against any person connected with the Danbury Public School System. May I ask if there's anyone in the first row? There is no first row. Anyone in the second, third, or fourth row that would like to get up and speak? Yes, sir. I have excuse me. I'm Charles Ray. We live at 9 Grace Street. That's all I know. I can't read your signature. Miranda. It's Miranda.
Good evening, everyone, in whom it may concern. My name is Miranda McIntyre. I am a junior at Danbury High School. I have been a part of the automotive program since my freshman year. I am very sad to hear that you want to take away this program because it has benefited me in so many ways and some other people in the class. This automotive program is so hands-on that it helps us further in the future towards what we want to do. I want my kids someday to have this class and the enjoyment of the experience. And last but not least, it gives me pride knowing that I'm a girl and I can do a lot of the things that guys can do. And in the ending, I would like to say, please save our program. It would mean a lot to us. Thank you.
Thank you. you very much, Mary. Is there anyone else in the room that would like to speak? Yes.
Hello, my name is Peter Gutierrez. I'm a senior in high school, currently in I'm here to talk about how great of a program it is. The Danbury Automotive program has taught me many life skills that I will use throughout my entire life, such as changing a tire, changing my oil, something that everybody in this room does pretty often. It's great to be in such a peaceful environment, where we can learn with hands-on experience. Not only has the program helped me learn about how to work on cars, but it has also helped me financially in a way, because you see, me along with many other of my peers are not from wealthy families, so this program is like our way and like saving a little bit of money, their cars in the basic program. The Danbury Automotive program is one of the highest enrolled tech ed classes in our Danbury High School, which is something to be proud about. Over 250 students are in this program a year, and it runs 7 periods a day. It could be more, but our teacher also has other duties. Let's see what else can I say. Actually.
Now, races, issues. Students are teaching like to who want to go to
Consent calendar.
Board of Education items on the consent exhibits.
Seconded by Glasgow. Any discussion or questions? I would like to thank Christine Ross for her 16 years of service. She's retiring. And I would also like to, thank True Colors for the $700 that they gave the Danbury Diversity Club. And it was very good for me to read this, because when I read it, I went to find out what the diversity, I'm sorry you cannot hear me. Now can you hear me? When I hold the microphone in front of my face. So I was thanking True Colors for the $700. I was thanking the Diversity Club for applying for it. And I was thanking everybody because I didn't personally, and I've been here for 150 years, did not know we had a Diversity Club, did not know what it represented, did not know what True Colors were. So I became fully educated, and I'm very proud to be associated with the system in the high school that has programs like this. Alrighty. So, seeing no other discussion, is everyone in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Noes? Abstentions? No. Thank you. Is there an employee representative that would like to speak? No. Seeing none. Our student representatives. Is there anyone here from Danbury High School? Seeing none. I am a student's young man. He's from ACE. And your name, sir?
My name's Evan Fernandez, and I go to ACE. On March 2nd, 11 students from the Alternative Center collaborated with Westheimer education students in the Read Across America Week to celebrate Dr. Seuss. Students participated in a number of different reading activities with kindergarten and first grade students at Ellsworth Avenue. The collaboration with Westheimer continues to be a valuable asset for ACE as we continue to partner with them on a number of different initiatives. On February 25th, Naugatuck Valley Community College conducted an on-site acceptance day at ACE. 10 ACE students have been accepted to Naugatuck Valley Community College for fall 2015 semester, with 7 additional students completing the application process. On Monday, March 2nd, Westcon Financial Aid Department hosted an ACE evening for seniors at ACE to assist them and their families in the completion of the FAFSA form. We are pleased to announce that the 7 out of the 9 students who received a Pell Grant, an amount of $5,000 or more, to assist them with paying for college next year. Students at ACE will be participating in our annual Spring into Wellness Day. On Thursday, March 26th, guest speakers will join us for a variety of workshops, including youth and recovery, health relationships, hosted by the Women's Center of Greater Danbury, safe sex practices by Alex Sweeney activities, and art therapy presented by art therapist Caroline Winter from CCATS, and leadership and team building activities by Dr. Dan Joy from Westcombe. On Wednesday, March 18th, Job Corps representatives will be presenting to juniors and seniors regarding programs of interest available to students aged 17 and above. On Tuesday, March 24th, Judy Labella from Union Savings Bank will be presenting during senior seminar topics on surrounding financial literacy and banking basics. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you. You did a fine job. All right. I'm sorry, before you go, there's a question on the table. I'm sorry, he's going to make a statement.
And it's the students, but I do want for the record to compliment and thank the students. Oh, here they are. I want to thank them and compliment them for coming forward and speaking up for a passion and for something that they felt was very important. I think it shows a lot of maturity, it shows good citizenship, and I think throughout your adult life it's important to speak your mind for something that you firmly believe in. And I really appreciate what you've done, and I'm proud that you're part of Danbury to express your feelings. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to speak? Okay. I thought we were getting more gifts, but instead we're getting a lovely presentation by Mr. Donovan. It's your turn now, Dan. Thanks. And thank you again for bringing all of this. We really appreciate it. Really. Sit down, sound around.
Mr. Donovan begins one of the endeavors that we have been working on, not only at the high school, but the elementary and middle school, has been the extending of the day for instruction purposes. And Nellie Mae has worked with the high school for a number of years, and this has been carved out as a way of extending the day and also preventing dropout through course recovery of credits. So we thought it'd be a good idea to have Dan here to explain to you what we're doing and how it plays out. Dan?
Thank you.
Thank you for having me, giving me the opportunity to come here and speak about one of the two programs that we are initiating up at Danbury High School this year with the Freshman Academy. The packet that you received is just 3 pieces of information. The first one is the rationale, which we'll discuss in a second. The second is some numbers that we have on the program that we'll discuss, and the third is the pamphlet that we sent out to try to recruit for this class. As Dr. South said, my name is Dan Donovan, I'm principal of the Freshman Academy at Danbury High School. And one of the things that we're always doing at Danbury High School as a whole is looking at data points and seeing how we can improve our instructional practices to benefit the students at Danbury High School. And one of the things we did here was looked at the final numbers last year from our passing rates at Danbury High School. While they are improving every year since we've opened the Freshman Academy, there still is a gap between certain subjects, English and biology, in grade 9 being our lowest pass rates. They're included in the rationale. So we sat with the Nellie Mae Group, who gave us money to fund certain programs, and we decided that we were going to try to work on a 3-tiered model to help students improve in those 2 classes. The dropout prevention program, as we call it, commonly referred to as Twilight School, because it does take place after school. It does take place Wednesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 4. We are extending the day. Since we did start this late in the year, we had to pay teachers to stay. One of the things we are looking at for the future, and I'll explain as we go through, is bringing teachers in possibly a period or 2 later than they have now and extending their day at really no additional cost, but we're working through that. If you take a look at the rationale paper, if you go down to approximately the 4th paragraph, it just talks about the Twilight School meets the needs of the passing rates from English and biology. The 2 programs that I said we were trying to go through. The first program we were trying to implement starting in September was just your basic enrichment program, where we can identify students that have to come for after-school tutoring on Wednesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 4. Partnering with our CONCAP program, which is already there, we are able to provide transportation. Students can take a bus to the nearest elementary school and either walk from there or get a ride from there, or parents can pick them up at 4 o'clock. When we finally got our numbers from Nellie Mae, we decided that program kind of is a replica of what's going on. We had decided we were going to try to focus it a little bit more just on English and biology, but we decided due to money constraints that we wouldn't be able to do that. The second program we were trying to do was one that we were very excited about, which was a credit recovery, unit recovery type program, where if a student will pick Algebra 1, if a student was going through a unit of Algebra 1, did not pass that unit of Algebra 1, they would be placed in this program for 3 weeks after school for specialized tutoring in that one specific unit, and then have the opportunity to take the assessment again, and then average the 2 scores together at a 60-40 ratio to try to obtain a passing grade on that. Due to the fact that Nellie Mae didn't really work on our time schedule, their monies weren't appropriated until the end of October. We couldn't get that program going because we were already approximately 8 weeks into the first semester. So it's a program we're going to go back and look at for next year, but we weren't able to put it through this year. The third program, and the one we're actually running this year, is credit attainment program, where students are able to come after school Wednesdays and Thursdays for 2 hours, and they're taught by English teachers and biology teachers, and they're taking the whole semester over during that time. Did you say something? Sorry. It models somewhat of summer school, but a little bit stronger than summer school, because we did add a blended component to it, which means all the students have access to the computers after school or at home, in which they are responsible to do work while they're not in that class. So the time spent in front of the instructor for the 2 hours is used as instruction time, and then finishing the essay or completing the problems is done at home. The teachers post, they use Schoology right now, but the teachers post extra work on the platform, and the students have to go and complete that work before they come back to the next week's class. If you take a look at the second piece of paper, it just shows our data points that we've just collected at the beginning. This is not how we're going to end with them, but it's just where we started. We're going to look. We are also looking at it, and I'll go through what they mean. Our initial enrollment talks about the difference between Wednesday and Thursday classes. So when we first started and sent this out, we had about a week and a half to turn it around between getting semester 1 grades and starting the program. We wanted 16 weeks of the program, which takes us to the beginning, right at the beginning of June. Not knowing how many snow days or whether we get pushed back, we had to finish it early in June. We couldn't keep it going all the way to the end. So we had 124 students sign up for it, 62 on Wednesday and 62 on Thursday. The drop courses, we had 7 drop from Wednesday and 5 from Thursday. If you look on the right, reasons for the drop. We thought it was important to try to find out why they weren't coming. Some signed up and did not attend. If you do not attend 2 classes, you are dropped from the program. Although there is a blended learning component, it's still important to sit with the instructor, in front of the instructor for those 2 hours. So that seat time is very important. So if you missed more than 2 classes, you would drop from our program. Transportation could be various reasons, and those 3 students that I talked to, 2 of which lived far away from an elementary school and had no way to get home, and one mom just didn't want them dropped off at that school. So I wish we had the money to drive them to their homes or somewhere near their streets, but we can't do that. We only have 3 buses that come. Generally at dismissal, there's almost 50, so we weren't able to do that. There's no behavior, no work completion. Other is just student didn't want it, didn't know what it was, thought they would like it, and decided that this program was not for them and would rather sit in front of the instructor again next year, the teacher for the semester. So our goal here was to try to get these more year on time. Tons of research shows that if students make it out of freshman year on time, the number varies, but it's generally about they're 5 times greater to graduate high school on time if they make it out of their freshman. Some studies show as much as 20 times to get out. They get the 5 credits. So we're trying to provide them with the 0.5. We're also looking at how they're doing in their classes now. So if you're in our after-school program and you're still failing English in the 2nd semester, it's time to why students to make the credit higher. Through biology, they can turn around credit again. Some take 1 course, meaning they're doing their and so that they have a better chance of graduating on time. So potential credits, if this goes according to plan, we can dish out. Our plan was to dish out 62 credits to students before in June that they didn't get before. 0.5 credits for each of them. So it worked out, and hopefully it continues to do so. The 3rd piece of paper in the program is just the information we made up rather hastily just to try to get it out to parents as quick as we could. We did not have a long time to prepare this entire program once we had it, but it's been met with great success so far, and we're happy with how it's going.
I have so it's basically a semester recovery for the 3rd part. The student does not have to pass at least 1 quarter to take the credit recovery. I personally want to see as many students make it from the freshman to the sophomore year. But I'm just thinking of the fact of how easy are we making it for students who fail 2 quarters of the semester to get into recovery. I mean, to me, as someone who taught, if someone failed 2 out of 2 in a semester, I could see doing this if they passed 1 out of 2. But I don't see any incentive for the students who are marginal to, work in the classroom. They say, well, if I don't do it, I can have a student recovery whether I pass 2 classes or not. I know, like in summer school, we used to say that you had to pass, do half at least.
A quarter.
Yeah. And so I'm just wondering about this. Are we cheapening? I'm going to be honest with you. Are we cheapening?
It's a fair question.
Are we cheapening the credits?
I would.
Okay. I'm just throwing that out.
My response to that would be is, if a student got a 65 and then a 61, they fail. If a student got 2 64s, they still fail. But now one can go to summer school and one can't. So I think that putting those barriers in front of the student and saying it. We also did look at the enrollment of students that were coming in. If you had 250s in a semester, you were eliminated from this.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. If somebody was close, fine. But, you know, I mean, there's such a gamut and range
And
of
it's-
what the failing grades are, that if somebody failed real badly, and I'll be honest, sometimes they fail because they can't get the material, sometimes it's because they're not working.
And we looked for the
That's
student
cool.
that was trying to, didn't get the skill. We did not look for the student who wasn't working. And we did look at every applicant that came through, and some students were not allowed to take it. Some students who just didn't do any work, we were not going to use a seat for them because we only had a certain number of seats and sections we could run. We were not going to use that for them. We were going to use it for students who were close, may have missed a skill. Maybe they did hand a project in late, which knocked it from a 80, which they would have gotten down to a 70, which put them below the bar. So we did have a screening method going in. I just didn't feel, and it was my decision, that we needed to have the same summer school rule, especially since this was an after-school program. So they're definitely not being rewarded. I mean, they are going to earn their credit. They do have to spend 2 hours after school, and they do have to spend time on the blackboards, which is what they call the blackboard.
In addition, they're spending time during the day in that class.
Yeah, they're still in bio
So-
second semester,
so-
so they're
Okay,
not.
it's not fair, they're
So
spending
you're not
time in
diminishing the
classes.
rigor because they're already still staying in the class.
Yeah, they're in the second half of bio, and they're also taking the first half of bio after school for 2 hours. So I don't
Okay,
think.
because
Yeah, it's a
really,
double enrollment, Bob.
Okay.
It's not where they're not enrolled anymore, and now they just go 2 days a week. So they've
Okay.
actually got added time to acquire the skill.
Okay, but say in a semester, a student went 1 quarter, went the second quarter with a 50, can they get in the program? From what you said, but no, you said we screened them out. That's the way I'm understanding this, Mike.
Yes, we would have told them that they were not eligible for it. If we sat with the student and they were having difficulty with the skills but turned in work but didn't have high grades, then maybe they would be. But the student who we looked in their grade book and had zeros throughout, didn't hand in summer work, didn't hand in projects, they were not.
I like the unit, I really like the idea of the unit recovery because you're catching something early enough before it multiplies. You don't
We were
know.
very fond of that program as well.
My question basically is on the last one, okay? Well, I hope it's successful. Like I said, the unit recovery makes a lot of sense.
First of all, I think it's fabulous. I love thinking, and my question was how long in existence were either of these programs ever before, or is this brand new?
The only one that is close to being in existence was the first one, which was just the after-school tutoring.
Okay.
The other ones were just orchestrated by me and my dean student, Sean Colley, and Matt Laskowski, the other dean students over the summer and the beginning of this year.
And the beginning of this year, so this is fairly new.
Oh, yeah.
And, okay. And the first program, was that offered that, I think you called it just the tutoring, right? Was that something that was offered to children both in a college prep or honors class, or was it just one?
No, any student can take it.
Any student can take that? And is that also this, did you envision that also the same for the unit recovery and the credit restoration? Is it just the college prep kids or the honors kids? Or
It's either one.
it is?
It's either one. Included in the back of that sheet is the failure rates.
Right, and that's what I was going to ask you about.
Significantly higher cash rates in honors than college prep. So the majority of students run the college prep. No, it's open to anyone.
But it, but you think the majority came from the college prep classes, which are your lowest numbers in there.
That was our design.
Mr. Minelli?
Now, how did you come to select those two courses? I know there's an array of courses, but what judgment?
If you turn to the last page of the rationale packet, the 2013-14 pass rates, you'll see the English G9 honors pass rate of 95.3% and the college prep pass rate of 69%. The English and the biology are the two lowest. This is a pilot that was funded for money through Nellie Mae, so we only had enough to run those two courses. So we picked the two that needed the most funding.
The
And this is strictly voluntary, student volunteers for this?
Yep, we contacted the parents, and parents made them volunteer. A lot was all volunteer. And it's also open, going back, it's not just open to ninth graders. In the Freshman Academy, it is also open to Mr. Laskowski's 9R students, who are the 9 repeaters. We didn't get it, we opened it. They had trouble this semester. They were also invited to take these classes.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I have a comment question. Did anybody at the high school look into why there was a 69% pass rate in college prep English? And just other than, like, what came out of that discussion? Because I'm sure there had to be multiple things.
Yeah, there are multiple things.
So that's like another day.
That is, large part is work completion and skill attainment, where a student may receive a score, you know, they're not 95% students, and they're acing all of their tests. So if they receive a score of 70 on a test and then forget 3 homeworks, that'll drop their score down. Where if a 90 student scores a 90 on that test and doesn't do the same 3 homeworks, they're still in the 70 range.
Right.
So if it drops them by 20 points, it drops some students to failure. So we're trying to get those skilled kids up to the 90%. That's what we're trying to do.
And you know, we've been looking at it for the last few years, drilling down. That's partially why we started the after-school tutoring in the 9th grade. The summer program before they get to 9th grade, focusing on how to organize their time. A lot of it is study skills, not turning in work, not attending, those kinds of things. Skill-wise, they may have been capable, but as Dan said, you know, some of them just didn't put the time in. That has been particularly those courses at the beginning stage.
And I'm wondering, just, I don't know, but, you know, when you talk about our population of students who come in with a second language, I'm just wondering, those students are taking your college prep classes.
Our ESL 2, some of our ESL 2 and 3s, depending on what they score on the Loslings test, are in the Freshman Academy. ESL 1s are in their own separate program.
Okay, but those 2 and 3s are taking your college prep classes.
Or honors if they choose to.
Or honors if they choose. Well, I just appreciate your out-of-the-box thinking. I think this is a great, I love this, and I appreciate that, because this is the kind of thing, these are the kind of things that will close that achievement gap, I believe. Extending the school day in this way, and giving children, students, an opportunity to be successful. And so I really appreciate that thinking.
Thank you.
I just want to say I certainly appreciate you and those that are working with you to help students get out of that low box to reach that goal that they need to move forward. And I certainly appreciate it. And I think that anything that we can do, superintendent leadership, to make things happen, great things for our students, we all should sit back and say thank you. And I certainly want to say thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else have something to say? Oh, Kathy, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. My question is, because our education system has changed so much in the past 5 to 6 years, and it's so fast-paced now, and children are being left behind whether we like it or not, is there this program, is it going to be available to our middle school children so that we can teach them good study habits? So by the time they get to the high school, this program will not be necessary, maybe.
I'd have to defer that one to the soups and the buildings.
We've been working on that at the middle school. Middle school has a period where they don't deal in credits. I mean, so you have to understand. So, but a lot of the skills that they need to acquire, the focus, the study skills, they've been working on. But ultimately, I talked to, that's why you may recall, we started the summer school program as part of the Alliance. We've identified probably to date this year, 8th grade students who are in jeopardy, somewhere in the vicinity of each building, 70, 75 students. That if they don't, we tried Saturday school, after school. The incentive here is that, look, if you don't, participate in it, then you will go to summer school. And if you don't get to summer school, then you may be retained. And by the time we got to the last 2 years, 2 summer, we wind up at the high school with about 60 students out of both.
Well, yeah.
Out of both. That funneled down, they got the message, but it's continual. And the schools that are having success on this, Sandy's going to be looking at this personalized learning, extending the day, doing all of those things, personalizing learning and giving them the time, are seeing more success. We're trying to do that. The problem is the sustainability. And I think I wanted to mention what Dan mentioned, and the board did help us. In the contract, Kim, we can work towards a staggered day.
We would have to negotiate over
Yes.
staggered
The
days.
last time we did that, you may recall, we got that. So you do the very thing Dan's saying, it's like, who wants to come in at 9 o'clock?
Yes.
All right, so they come in at 9, then we can require, see, that's what we get the kids to stay as part of their schedule, provided we put the bus in. So we don't
The
have to
kids
pay-
at risk.
Well, the youngsters that need to stay in. But the whole idea of extending the day, minimizing the expense, but providing transportation is the formula that we have to work with. Because it will help starting at middle school, no doubt, setting the tone, no doubt. So we're on the, moving that direction. They're much more aggressive at the high school.
Well, they need to be.
They have to be.
They need to be.
We're charged in the freshman academy with exactly that.
Exactly.
Making sure that our number one goal is to make sure our retention rates drop every year. And we've been successful. When something doesn't work, we look at the data, go back and see what we can do to improve on it. And that's what we're doing. With leadership, from the superintendents, the IDT, to everybody, it's shown improvements in our freshman academy every year. Not what we all want to. There is no finish line. So if we reach this bar, what we can do, reach the next bar, and that's what we're going for. This is just one example.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
And the last thing, what's the buzz with the kids in 9th grade about this? Like, I'm sure kids talk to each other. Have you heard anything about what they feel about this? Do they think this is good? Do they like it? Do they say, oh, we better make sure we stay so we don't have to do this and stay after school? Like,
I would say it's both. You get a combination. A lot of students don't even know that.
okay.
With half of our students, on average, 86% of them are passing their classes. So they're only getting 14% of those students who may have not passed that class. When they're first told, that they have to take the class over, there's always a shock involved in that. But once we explain to them, this course is going to help you, and this is what you have to do, they were excited about it. We went out and hired some very powerful, good teachers that are very engaging to keep them up. That 2:30 in the afternoon dip that we all get, and they're engaging in them, and it's been going great so far.
We're going to put a plug in for Monday night.
If anybody's available Monday night, our second program that I would need like an hour and a half to talk about is our Danbury Early College Opportunity Program, which is the partnership between us and Naugatuck Valley Community College and New Oak, which is a financial institution just moved to Danbury. And it's our information session for parents. When I did my information session for incoming parents, we didn't have enough time to include all the nuts and bolts on this program. But in the short time, it's a program that allows students to obtain an associate degree and a high school diploma pretty much at the same time. They can do it in, it looks like 5 years, but if they want to take summer courses, they can knock it down to 4 years, and it may take them as much as 6.
Okay, Dan, when is that on Monday?
6:30 at the high school. No problem.
Thank you. There's information in our packet, guys, on Exhibit 53, on page 57.
Dan will come back and spend the whole time on DECA. We didn't want to do both tonight. We just want to spend more time with it. But I just thought at least announce that this is on Monday night if we all wanted to go.
Okay, aside from these 2 programs, I just want to say something about what a great job you're doing, and I thank you very much.
Thank you.
I've heard nothing but good things since you've been there, in this freshman academy. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Oh, and the presentation is okay too.
I had like a day.
Okay. Action items. So let's move it along, guys.
To Dan, excuse me, Is there a way that, I know you already did this, but could you sort of send out an email to, I don't know what the protocol is, but so if the board gets it, as to specifically the time and place for the thing for Monday night?
We'll make sure it's done, Mr. Ginelli. I'll get that to him, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Okay. Motion that the Board of Education authorizes the chairperson of the Board of Education and the superintendent of schools to approve the
Can
final
we just talk one at
plans,
a time, guys? Thanks.
contract specifications, and cost estimate, and sign the EDO 42 forms and submit them to the state of Connecticut for approval for the following roof replacement projects: Haystown Avenue School, King Street Primary School, King Street Intermediate School, and South Street School.
Do I hear a second? Second by Bob Taversack. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you very much. It's your turn.
Thank you. Thank you. Last Friday, I'll start with last Friday, we did meet with the governor for the impact of his budget. I did go up to Hartford to testify. I was not able to get on because of the number of buses, students were bused in at some magnet schools up in Hartford. And I was number 75, and at 8 o'clock there were 27. So that was a night of a snowstorm on Wednesday. So I went home and submitted it. It's evolving, but I knew we were going to see the governor on Friday. So we talked to the governor on Friday. I'm on the pause group. He was quite candid. We spent about 20 minutes to half hour with us. And we mainly talked about this whole notion of sustainability. You know, how can you work with the cities? What can you do? And being from Stanford and being in the city, he recognizes the need for the cities in terms of its challenges. And we talked about the Alliance Grant. And I think he put it plainly. He said, you know, he was willing, as he did when we met with him before November, to keep it constant in his budget, and he has. We have not lost the 6.6. Now, the compression factor is less because of benefits, about 4%, 4.5%, but the money is the same there. When we asked how long he thought that would be, he felt it would be for a few years, but also said to us, the whole idea is planting it so the cities pick up the ball. Because there isn't any way they're going to continue to supply that kind of resources only to the cities. It has to be across the 169 towns. But like I said, I think, you know, the eye is on trying to help the cities, the Alliance District. We talked about also the budget has been reduced in the area of the accountability budget, which is the money that prior money. It's prior. We lost about $220,000 there. That's the summer money that we had for that, so we won't be able to use that. And some other money that we've lost. They are actively looking for foundations, but at this point we're planning not to have that. Also, whenever we do grants, they prefer the coalition of different grants to do things so there's sustainability. So when Bill puts this grant together, the Alliance needs to look at that, how we can use other resources to fund different things, to assure them that there'll be things ongoing. I mean, I was encouraged that I think I know 6.6 will be there. There's money that we're all suffering from, and that's excess cost with special education. 169 towns are all experiencing a lot of that. We've asked them some of the challenges we've had with DCF and their placement. I guess they have, this week he reappoints all of his top directors in the state. Right after he appoints his DCF court director, they'll come and meet with us, and we'll go through some of the nuances of how we think placements are happening and not involving local schools who may have programs. So he was open to that, and so we have him coming to us. I thought that was really encouraging. Anything else on the budget, Joe?
As Dr. Self said, these particular two summer programs that are going to hit, the Extended School Hours Grant and the Accountability Grant comprise roughly $500,000 of reductions. Inside that grant is primarily summer school. There's also literacy materials that come out of those grants, so it's and it's kind of the beginning. And the good news is obviously ECS is preserved, but we're continuing to see. We also did see the Healthy Hunger Free initiative by the state was 6 cents for each meal served. That money is at least eliminated in the governor's budget. That will impact school lunch. I think there's some mitigation there because that is obviously in a sense off the Board of Ed books and will be particularly we are going out to bid for our school lunch contract, so that'll be in a sense part of the contract when we build that. So that shouldn't impact us greatly. Definitely the accountability in the school hours very well.
One last thing with the youngsters here this evening, we are meeting with we did meet with the superintendent of the vocational schools. We have argued the last 2 years that vocational schools, they have approximately 4,500 students, there are 10,000 applicants. It's a public school and students are not being permitted to attend for different criteria. We think they will open up their door, particularly in the local schools. And we had a conference last week and I was really pleased to listen to our ability to use their campus, to run courses together. If we do tailor courses in a way that we can't afford to run it, our kids will have an opportunity to attend there as well. So there is some opening up of that. But we're still going to meet with the commission, with her and with the new commissioner. We think that there's an unfairness in how kids are selected. The way I just went through the new criteria. Their deportment is part of it, their study skills. All as a public school with the ability to select students in a way that none of us can do. So we think inherently that's not fair for kids. So we'll see if we can change that because we have more kids that want to get in. So I think that was a good meeting for us, but we have a lot more work to do. I have sites and facilities update. I guess that'll be done by your committee. So I don't have to do it.
You don't have to do it, but it's an attachment, so it's all there.
So we're going to talk about it later.
If anybody wants to.
Okay. So it's attached, things are 15 first. All right, on information, we have the student records, and that's out. We talked about it last time. The early college info communications in there, that may be the announcement of that night, I'm not sure. I'll look at that. Family University, Ann, you have that going, right?
I do, the brochures are over here.
That'll be, we're going to talk about, Gary will be there and I'll be there. We're going to talk about hopefully board members will be there. We're going to talk about the high school edition. We're going to be doing that. And then during the spring break, we have all the enrichment activities. Made available.
Those are all in the packet also.
Yes, I just wanted to get to everybody's attention. Thank you.
It's all self-explanatory.
I think it's very important. With regard to the
Family University, I think it's very important that not only the board members attend that because the presence is important, but perhaps more important is that you take the flowers and people that you know, parents that you know, is to present it to them and educate them as to what this is, because so many parents in the community, we like to say that Danbury is great, we celebrate diversity, but it's for the diversity that these courses and these seminars are. And if we could reach out to many parents to show them what we're offering and what we have, I think it's absolutely exceptional. So using the board members as sort of messengers in a sense to bring your flock to this presentation is excellent. I think a couple of 3 years ago we had one that was extremely successful. And I'm happy to say the Community Relations Committee is part of this group, so I support it very much. The other thing I'm working on with the Community Relations Committee, I sort of bumped and take charge, is with Ann Mead, is again, with regard to this diversity, is we're reaching out to minority communities, Ms. Hooper reaching out to the African American community, and Ann and I have been reaching out to the Hispanic community to try to bring parents together to the school district so that they could understand what we're looking for and we could understand their frustrations and their challenges so that we could work together. I was telling Dr. Class and Dr. Sal at a meeting that I had attended, and it was well attended for I think over 40 parents about 3 weeks ago at the Ellsworth School, We had sponsored an evening. We had childcare, we had food. It was 6 o'clock. I ran from 6 until 8:30, but very basic, and it was all done in Spanish. We had Elmer Palmer, from the gentleman who owns the several restaurants in Denver, there to give some talks. But some of the very basic questions that they said they didn't know, and one of the reasons they didn't attend certain things, they didn't know what an open house was, which is sort of very, very basic. So it's important that we understand what they're lacking or how to get information to them. We've asked them, based on this 2.5-hour meeting that they had, is to come up with a list of questions that they had, that they could present to us, so that we could look it over and see how we can cope with that and try to satisfy the needs. At that meeting, one of the parents had mentioned they would like to have the opportunity to, or what could we do? I think the question was, what could we do to help them understand what their students are learning? It's part of the conversation we had, is that not only are you here to help your student get a better education, but it's also important for you to have a better education so that you can help your students. And so one of the parents says, well, what could you do to help us understand what our kids are being taught? And this was at the Ellsworth School that night, and just that specific night, I think the principal was Anna Rocco, she had a presentation for parents, fourth grade parents, in both English and Spanish, demonstrating to the parents the math curriculum in the school that night. So we marched those parents that we were talking to that and said, this is an answer to your questions as to what they're doing. So there is a lot of good things going on, but it's a tremendous amount of outreach that we have to do and what we need. Thank you.
Ann Rose?
And this was Family University like last year, right?
Yes.
And I think on the district website, you put that little ticker tape like thing across the website, because I had, said I don't think parents even know where to go look to register. So are we going to do that again? And is there a way to, I know most parents probably more frequently visit their own school's website on a weekly or daily basis. Is there a way to get that same little ticker tape thing or a link to each of the 18 schools that we have?
Absolutely.
And that it get linked to you? Because I'm just envisioning they just might not go to the district page as often as they go to their own school pages.
You're right.
And I think that is a captive audience right there. If somehow it can be done.
Everybody in the elementary schools are receiving paper copies. At the middle school, they're being emailed out, and the same at the high school. A robocall will go out at the beginning part of next week, reminding parents to look in the book bags, get the information out, and then all our community groups are really working with registering their families, our 21st Seed programs, our Promise programs, working to get their constituent of parents in on that particular day. So we'll make sure it's up on the website.
It was like very eye-catching.
Yes.
Just like when this school is 2 hour delayed and it's eye-catching up there. It's just,
Yeah, I just want to say, last year Eileen and I attended, it was a guest speaker there about kids' behavior and stuff like that. Very well done. You guys did a great job. It was pretty well attended also, and I think we spent pretty much the whole day there. There was a lot of organizations there with information and giving stuff, and people seem to be having a great time. So it's at Rogers Park again?
It's at Rogers Park, and
28th?
The 28th, and Mark Barden from the Newtown Promise is our keynote. He's going to speak on social isolation. No one eats alone. 15 ways as a community we can help end social isolation.
No, it was great. I found it a great event.
It is. It's fabulous. And thank you for doing it ahead of time like this for us.
I'd like one more thing to have Ann.
Certainly, just come in.
Yeah, just come on up for a second. I think it's what you hear us. Yesterday's meeting, could you talk about what we're doing with kindergarten real quick? I think everybody should know this. It's something we're working on.
So there's been a group of us, myself, other people from the Family Learning Center, and principals, working on what we could do to be a more inclusive school system and to bring in more families early. With kindergarten registration, which is already ongoing, we've always had the lottery in previous years. And so that has kind of been the cutoff date for parents that were at a school that had a lottery to get in there. Now there's no incentive to get in there. So we looked at many different models in different districts to find out what they're doing and what could we do to entice parents in. So on Tuesday, April 21st, we will be having a district-wide kindergarten orientation at Rogers Park Middle School. We are going to have all the elementary principals there. Dr. Sal will do a orientation for the school. Dr. Glass hopefully will be there. Board members will have the nurse there, the food program. That's one of the big questions that parents always ask, will my child be fed the first day of school? The nurse will go over what is needed, and different people. This is at the umbrella of the district level. The individual schools will be there with a table, highlighting their schools to really welcome parents into the school system. Then we'll go in May with a school-based orientation that each principal and their staff will run. And we wanted to keep that unique to each school because part of our central registration idea is to get folks in, get them registered, get the information into the computer, but not lose the individual feel of every school. So we feel like we've really accomplished this this year with this. Then, right before school starts, we're going to work on each school doing a meet the teacher, come in and see your classroom. So we think we've got a good solid plan this year. The staff is excited about it. The principals are certainly excited about it. And so.
And what is the trick for coming? They get to draw for what?
Well, they're going to draw for some free ELP. We are working with WB Mason to provide a homework box. Okay, get ready for school. We do have books in English and Spanish and Portuguese that was done by our School Readiness Council on skills that children need for kindergarten. So from the time they come to orientation to the time that they start kindergarten, they're going to have some work to do. But we're working with WB Mason to supply crayons, pencils, a scissors, a ruler, so children have some of those things. Today we had a great family come in, and the dad asked me what a crayon was. And so we got crayons out and gave it to his two children. And he said to me, I have to be honest, my children never play with crayons.
Did Carvel donate the ice cream birthday party?
We're working on a few of those things.
Very, very sorry.
We don't have to give Carvel a proud for that.
We are working with one vendor to do a bag for each child, one of the string bags that go on their back, and it says graduation class of 2028. So
we'll try to get some incentives. Seriously, if there's something there that we could raffle off, that just incentivizes.
Absolutely, huge.
So am I to understand that each kindergarten student will meet their teacher before they come to school in September?
That is our aim, yes.
You mean to tell me parents are going to know before August, the last week of August, who their teacher will be?
No.
Okay.
We didn't say that.
Oh, you didn't say
Here
that?
are the 3 kindergarten teachers.
Okay.
And they,
Right.
we're not going down that.
Collectively.
Them.
Collectively. I was
We're
going to
not
say,
going
wow,
down that.
that is.
Some schools I think do know, but
Let's not go down
not
that
always.
road.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's not.
Yeah. We're taking baby steps with this.
Okay.
We're trying to step.
Actually,
It's only going to be usually less than.
you know what, let me answer that, so kidding aside. We thought about starting kindergarten earlier than normal, so the kids would know that. There are a few principals talking about the idea when the teachers return in August, almost the end of July, when they return, to take one of those half days, Bill, and have the kindergarten teachers and have their parents and kids come in early the next 4 days. So they can spend a half a day on the campus. And if that works well, we're going to try to roll it out to the other ones. We heard about 4 or 5 talking about wanting to do that. And we certainly would give them the time to do that, because that's really important. So they will know who it is. But
I know that you would have a large participation if they could meet their teacher. Yes.
95%.
that might be the key, you know. I don't think we need to discount
It's a
that.
recipe for disaster, but yeah, they would come.
No, it only is if people appeal and think they can get their way.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, this is the principal's last decision, and we've stayed with that. We can't get in the middle of that. But thank you, Ann, for taking the leadership, and
with the principals, because this really is a special.
Been exciting. Sal is Mrs. She lets us check it for you. Richard, go.
What time on the 21st?
6:30 in the evening, yes. 6:30 to about 8.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you very much. Thanks for all of this, Ann.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
And that's sincere, by the way. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, for information, we have the student record policy. Make sure you read it. This is the first reading, so next time it's on, next week, or 2 weeks from now, it'll be on for pick. It'll be on for approval. All right.
I'm sorry, your question?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
The changes in that are
Folded or,
During the, here.
I mean, that's a yes or no question. If the changes were made in the policy,
I read the policy that,
or was it rewritten from top to bottom?
The policy had not been altered since, I want to say, 2006.
Okay.
And so what we did was we took the sample policy from Shipman and Goodwin and Cave and put it next to the old policy, and the places where the definition for section, for example, needed to be tweaked, we just traded the two policies. So there really isn't any significant change other than updating to comply with the law. So the one that you have in front of you is a new one, has very few but sort of significant changes in order to keep up with the statute and what it looks like.
Okay, because I'm used to seeing bolded printed, there was a significant change.
Right, there aren't really anything that's significant. It really was just compliance with regulations and updated definitions and that kind of thing. So there was nothing that the board discussed in terms of tweaking that. It's just the sample policy that we just removed the old one and put the new one in.
Okay, thank you. We already spoke about the ECO. We're going to talk about that next time.
The early college students?
Yes.
Yeah, if we can do it next time, I can arrange that.
Okay, good. Family University, we've just done that. Thank you very much. And the spring break enrichment program, I was just as interested as anything else. Thank you. Okay, thank you much. I'm supposed to talk about Cave on Day on the Hill. Okay, it's March 25th, 2015, and if you would like to go, I'll go with everybody. I've never been, okay, in 14 years. But I have a new thing I'm going to talk about in a minute, which makes me think that we all do need to go. If you know that, notice I gave a handout for this event on the 21st, the Breakfast of the Matrix, with the legislators. Is put on by NEA, or CEA actually. They have someone coming from CEA to speak about the monies. Okay, it's about yes, okay? It's really important that we go to these things ourselves in front of the people. I found that out. I actually got a phone call the Sunday before Sal was testifying on Wednesday to say that it was nice that our superintendent was going, but they never see anybody else from Danbury. They never see the board, and we're one of the largest boards in the state. And because we're the ones that are advocating for change, we need to be there physically, all of us in person, to learn what we need to do. I've asked Joe to make a palm card for us, if you all know what that is. Just simplistic things to talk about. The reason for the palm card is not just when we go to events like this to be able to talk to the legislators. It's also because we all need to write letters to them. We need to contact them all personally. We don't need a form letter from Sal that we all sign. We actually need to sit down, read the information, read Sal's speech. It pretty much delineates in it what we're trying to say and what we need. After Joe speaks to us at the next meeting, we will then have the information we need to write effective letters to all of the legislators, each and every one of us individually. If you want Sal or Bill to check on it, they're more than willing to do that. I just said that for them, okay? But I'm serious, or Joe, or anybody else. But we need to do it. We need not to procrastinate about it. We need to do it. We need to go to functions where they're there to say, hi, we're from Danbury. It makes a difference, guys. We're voters also. Alrighty, and there's a number of us, and we affect effectively reach a very large group of people. Our district is very large. What's it, the seventh largest? Okay. So we need to do that. We need not to let it be the way it's been, which is just put to the side every year because nobody wants to change anything. There's nobody that's very vocal is being affected. It will affect them directly. Us, we need a positive effect. And we are the people that can change that. These people, in this sitting at the table, do it all the time. There's 4 of them. There's 11 of us. And we reach a lot of people that vote for these people that we're going to see. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. So if you could just see it, it's a Saturday, so if people at work, it's available. Let's try to go and be there in force. All right? I mean, I'm going to have a big mouth, but I'm only one person. Okay? It's like the university, family university. Ralph and I were there. There are 11 of us. Could more of us show up? Even if you just come to one of the things to be seen by the people that, okay, let me see. It's part of our job. It's more than just sitting at the table and reading things and asking questions. It's actually doing things. And the things that we do is we can't affect the education in the way we're not educators. But we are, whether we like it or not, we're politicians and we talk, and that's our job. All righty? Thank you. I'm sorry that I just lectured, but I sort of feel pretty strongly about it. And that's all I can say. Oh, because, and then we need committee reports. But we just heard from Mr. Chidelli, who is the most active committee, and I need to thank him very much because it's doing more this year than ever before. It's wonderful. Just, I mean, a lot of stuff you're doing that's really, really different. Thank you very much. Ralph, do you have anything from PTO or anything like that?
Last citywide PTO meeting I missed, but I was at Great Plains this month, and that's Stanley Ruff's.
Okay.
And they just, go over events and stuff that they covered up. No big questions or anything.
At Red Cross, Dr. Seuss's Day
Right.
was incredible. I went to Park Avenue, it's always a delight to see Dave Crafton. And today he was dressed, that day he was dressed up as some sort of a bunny rabbit with his face painted. It's just an incredible person. Kids in the school are just great.
Well,
And
today
the school is huge.
I know
Oh,
it's
it is.
I was
Oh,
just
yeah.
there. It's very, very good. Yep.
So it was a good time. I
It is.
read to a 5th grade class and had a lot of fun.
It's the first, I think it's the first year or the second year that I haven't read. And I was very sad. And it just like went by and I forgot about it. Very, very poor. What? Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have anything to say? Any other committees? Yes. Gladys. Oh, yes, your meeting is next week, isn't it?
We have the Superintendent Evaluation Committee scheduled for next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. And I would just like to urge everyone, if 6 o'clock is not a good time, please let me know now. Okay? So next Wednesday at 6 o'clock, come and we're going to do the superintendent evaluation. And we will have a light salad for you to eat.
Okay.
She did say salad, right?
Count me out on
Gonna have a roast.
Right. Oh, that's what the sort of superintendent's evaluation and roast is the same thing. Okay. Depends on, yeah, really good. The other thing I forgot to mention is on the 19th and 20th is the Invention Convention, right? Okay, the Invention Convention, and they're looking for judges. All right, they want people to volunteer for judges. I don't know the timing. Does somebody know the time that it? I just know I have to. It's the 19th and 20th. And I have it written down.
It's early
so I'm working
afternoon.
with- Oh, here.
I'm pretty sure it's like, let me just double check. I think it's like 2:30 or 3 to 5.
Right, I know it's after school because
Kids usually have to bring their projects there by 3:30 or so, and then it's like over by 5.
it is over. It's just a couple of hours.
2 hours.
And it's wonderful, and you get to judge, you get to watch them. It's, I'm not going to tell you anything. You need to come and do it. It's really, really wonderful. It's not hard, it's just watching kids do what they do best. Learn and show. All right, I think is that it? Everybody, anybody else have anything to say? Okay, Liz.
Mrs. Alberts? Oh, the exam times are 3:30 to 6 o'clock on
Yeah,
those
3:30 to
days.
6 o'clock. Okay, and that's that Friday, and if you can, just let Debbie or myself know, and we'll get it to Isabel, the lady that books us. No, you can just go see it, but if you want to be a judge. Okay?
Can they do either or?
I don't know about that, but I'm sure that they could.
Yeah.
Because it's two different competitions
It's two, yeah.
or age groups, so I'm sure that they'd be happy if you could do one
Yeah,
or
they
the
just
other.
need somebody all the time, and they're really short, okay? So just let me know when you can do it, and I'll get it to you, okay?
The only other thing I wanted to say, if I
Yes.
can,
Just stop
is
okay.
Ralph and I are going to the rest of the schools that we have not visited next Monday. If anyone would like to join, we're going to spend the entire day all over the district. So let us know if you are interested in joining, because we'll be all over, even if it's not the whole day, one or two, feel free.
That's great. Anybody else?
You know which ones you want to send a note out to make sure?
All done.
Oh, good, because they do workshops.
No cost.
Sometimes we can take care of ourselves. Because sometimes we can take care of ourselves. Okay.
I'm just trying to be helpful. It's supposed
That's
to be
great.
an
No, I
evaluation.
know, it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful, you're so helpful. Okay, do we have an executive session, please, God, no? Oh, no. Oh, but Dr. Glasgow is speaking, excuse me. Remember, once you wrote this,
I just want to leave the board with a smile as we get ready to adjourn. Stanley Road School had 65 readers come in this past week, and it was really successful. And they had a number of the Whalers come in, and the fourth grade girls thought it was important.
Bye, Sandy, thank you.
The fourth grade girls thought it was important for the Whalers to know that they were not married.
Very good. Oh, my goodness. Anybody else have anything to say? Richard?
The fact that we don't have an executive session means that Kim didn't do her job or did a great job.
I'm doing it so well.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Continue the good work.
Just a shout out to Broadview, they did a great job on their play.
Yes, they did.
It was wonderful. And Rogers Parks, I think, is this week.
It is Friday. And then the high school is the 20th,
Right.
or the weekend of the 20th.
West Side has theirs coming up too.
When is that?
I don't have the exact date yet, it's allotted.
It was supposed to be, I don't know, I'm sorry. But it was the magnet
I'll
school.
find it.
The magnet school was supposed to be. But let us know because some of us, Sal and I, go to all of them. And my niece and nephew, that's my excuse for going to this water. I actually just go to it.
It was really nice to see. It was great to see.
Yeah, nice job. They
They
had
did a great job.
a ton of kids participate. That's what they do.
Couldn't get a ticket.
Yeah.
And they're so proud when they tell you
It was
it's
so
student
loud.
driven.
They even added another
I
nice.
couldn't go Wednesday, because that's when I only had tickets, the other two nights were sold out.
I booked it that Thursday, rather Wednesday when we left here. They told us about it. I went and emailed right then. And I got in Thursday night, so. And so did Sal. Imagine that surprise. All right. Very unusual. Yes, Richard. Okay, before you have small, let's move.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, dear God, yes. All in favor?